Today we're going to show you how to change a drum baffle on your dryer. It's a really easy job. All you're going to need is a Phillips screwdriver, a 5/16 nut driver, and a 5/16 socket and ratchet. Let me show you how we do it. Now before we begin this repair, because we will be working near some electrical circuits, we will have to disconnect the power to the dryer. If your dryer has a cord on it, simply unplug it from the receptacle. If it's a hardwired dryer, you'll need to locate the fuse panel or breaker panel and disconnect the power there. Next, we will remove the door and the front panel. There are 4 Phillips head screws that secure the front panel, and 2 of them also hold the door hinges in place. Now the latch side will have a little plastic bumper that comes off with the screw. The hinge screws are countersunk. They're different from the screws on the latch side, so make sure we don't mix those up. We can now take the door and just lift up slightly on the door and disengage the arrowhead hinges from the slotted openings in the bulkhead. We'll set that aside, and we'll just disengage the tops of that front panel. There's a little slotted opening in the front panel that engages on this hook at the top. Tilt it down and lift it off of the 2 hooks on the bottom, and we can set that aside. Next, we're going to remove 6 screws that hold the front bulkhead to the dryer. We'll start with the 2 at the top that also secure this hook in place. And just lift out on that hook, tilt it to the outside, and it will drop down out of the main top. Now with the front panel and the door removed and the 2 hooks that secure the top, we can now lift the main top up and support it against a rear wall. Now we'll rotate the drum clockwise until we locate the baffle that we need to replace. And there'll be 2 5/16 screws that secure that baffle to the drum. Just remove those. Now if the baffle that you're replacing has already fallen off, you will find that screw laying somewhere inside on the base frame of the dryer, so you can fish that out and reuse it. And just support that baffle while you're removing the last screw, and you can discard it. Now we'll take the new baffle, position it in place, and we'll start one of the screws to secure it. We won't tighten it yet until we install the second screw. And then once we've got both screws in, we'll tighten them snugly, make sure that there's no movement in that baffle. And then we can put our main top down, resecure the hooks that hold the top in place, and put our front panel and door back on. Now that we have the bulkhead secured to the cabinet, I want to make sure that our top fits down and hangs out over the front of that bulkhead. Then we can install the hooks. Simply tilt them into the little slot at the top, rotate them around, and reinstall the 5/16 screw. Do the same for the opposite side. And now we're ready to reinstall the front panel. Fit the hooks on the bottom into the slotted openings. And engage the little hooks on the side with the slotted opening on the top of the front panel. At this point, you can put the latch side screws and bumpers in place. Remember to keep the flat side of the bumper against the front of the dryer. And don't over tighten the screws because they are plastic bumpers. We don't want to crack them. Drop the lint filter back into place. And before we put the door on, we'll want to run our hand around the front felt area on that bulkhead to make sure that we didn't fold the felt over. And if we did, just take a small flat blade screwdriver, tuck it in there, and peel it back into position. Next, we'll install the door. Again, we have little arrowhead hinges here that will fit into slots on either side. Once you have it pushed in fully, and you can drop it down so that the hole in the hinge lines up with the holes in the front panel. We'll reinstall those 2 screws, making sure that they don't go in cross-threaded. And these 2 we can snug up nice and tight. Now we'll check alignment of the door and the latch. We're ready to reconnect the power, and our repair is complete.